Hi everyone, and welcome to your daily tarot reading for Sunday, the 16th of June. Thanks for joining me. I'm using the China Tarot, which is such a beautiful deck. I think it's really one of the most underrated decks that I have. It's so great. So let's have a look at what the cards want you to be aware of today. I'm going to shuffle the cards a couple of times. And I kind of get sucked into the shuffling sometimes. It's really nice holding something tangible. I have so much earth in my chart that I like earthy, practical things that I can touch. So when I shuffle these cards, I kind of get into the zone and I ask the cards, what is the day going to be about? And then I just feel like I'm pulled into this. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. Okay, let's have a look. We've got 4 of something in reverse, 4 of cups in reverse, we've got the tower in reverse, and death. All right. We've had a lot of spreads which have had 2 reverse cards and 1 card upright. And the card upright is really the main thing that's important. It's the thing that's really leading up to in this case. So 4 of cups. 4 of cups is being ungrateful in terms of the emotions. You've got so many good things coming into your life. They're literally flying in, these little weird droney cup things. They're flying into your life and you don't appreciate them and you don't want them. You don't want the things that are supposed to make you happy. And that, in my experience, is the worst. When you have done something that someone has forced you to do, like often as a child, parents want their children to do well. And bless my poor father, he always said, healthy body, healthy mind. And I just thought, God, if he only knew, I'd be sitting in a wheelchair if that was true. Jeez. Because mentally I was messed up as a teenager. The addiction was just blossoming within me. And I had successes in swimming. I was a really good swimmer and I'd get medals and stuff and I couldn't feel them. I'd get up on those, those first, second, third place things and I'd get medals and people would applaud and I couldn't feel my life. I couldn't feel the success. I couldn't feel the good things that were coming to me. And that was because it wasn't my life. It was someone else's dream. It wasn't my dream. And that's really important today, that you live your dream. Even if you're getting a lot of great rounds of applause for the amazing things that you've done. If that's what your family has forced you into, you're not going to feel the joy of it. And that means you're off track in your own life purpose. And that at some point you're going to have to bite the bullet and do the thing that you enjoy. Because then when you're successful in that, you're actually going to feel the successes you have. And that's a bitter pill. It really is. Because there's nothing worse than being really good at something and not feeling it, because you have to start all over. And not many of us are geniuses in many, many fields. No, you're not going to be a great swimmer and a great physicist. Oh, that's cracking me up. Me just seeing myself as a physicist. No. I think the swimming was interesting because swimming is water, and water is spirituality and intuition and da-da-da. So I think it was good for me in a way, even though I didn't know it. You see, so we never know what's good for us at the time. So don't get too hung up on what's good and what isn't, because later on in life, you see that, hey, that was awful at the time and I hated it, but actually it served me so well later on. The Tower is a very dramatic card. The structures of your life are hit by lightning and everything goes boom. And it's in reverse, so it's your choice. you can say, you know, I am working in this situation, in this family business, for instance, or I'm in this marriage, we've got the 2 children, I don't love him anymore, but I don't want the children to live without their dad. I don't want to put them through a divorce. And he's okay, you know? It's just we're not in love anymore. We still love each other as friends, but it's not enough to get divorced over. It's fine. You know why? Just let me just get on with it and just play house and pretend, and it's all going to be good. And if you do that, you're not going to feel happy, and you're building a life that is really the epitome of all of that unhappiness built floor by floor by floor by floor by floor by floor. Each year you build the tower stronger and stronger and higher. And that means that, you know, this card can be very positive when it's this way around, because it lightning strikes, something forces you to evacuate the tower that you've built for years that you were miserable in, and you have to move and you have to go and find a new tower. So you leave the relationship, you set up co-parenting, both of you find new partners, you're much happier. 5 years later, you can go on double dates because you're such good friends. The kids are happy because there's no arguing in the house anymore, all of that stuff. But what's happening today is that there's a lot of positive energy floating around that you're not feeling. You're not enjoying it. And you feel like you're making a contribution to something that's phony, that's insincere, and you don't want to do it. But you're going with the flow. It's interesting. Yesterday's energy was similar to that. It's the weekend is very much about doing your own thing and really being a stickler for being authentic. You know, if we ran around every day and said, you know what, going to the post office really does not vibe with my spiritual vibration. I am supposed to be with the leaves today and the squirrels, and this just is totally not for me. And the letter has to be sent, and you act like that, then you're not going to get your insurance money, for example, because you didn't go to the post office and you didn't send the letter. So sometimes we do have to act against our own natures. We can't always be in our own little world, but fundamentally, we do need to build a life that does work for us. So the little things, like little injustices in the world, like going to the post office and having to pay your taxes and having to renew your car insurance and getting your hair cut so you look presentable. Those little injustices we have to endure. You can make the most of it and go to a hairdresser that you really love and, you know, make that chore something you enjoy. But what the cards are saying with the death card here is that you really ought to put an end to this acceptance of a life that is just presented to you, that you're forced to fit into, that you're building. You know it's not your life, but you're building it anyway because it's expected, and the options of doing it solo are so hard. You're ostracized from your family. The children suffer. Financially, you have to start working maybe, and it's really difficult. You know, sometimes you're between a rock and a hard place. But the cards are saying that stop building death. Put an end to this tendency of yours to accept other people's plans for you, for what your life ought to look like, and be a little bit more thoughtful and build your own life the way it's meant to be. I love this death card. It's beautiful. The images of death, this is such a great image. Usually it's the skeleton or an angel, an older woman with black wings, and I just love the diversity of this. So instead of accepting feelings that don't work and building a life that doesn't work for you and accepting that is socially normal and functional, think about that today and consider whether you want to put an end to that going into the future, and whether you want to start today to make plans to turn things around, to actually receive the positive things that are coming into your life and to be happy about them, to put an end to the structure of your life as a result, and to kill a certain circumstance that is really, really fundamental in your life, such as a marriage, a job, a type of behavior, stopping smoking, for instance. I think it makes me feel good. It's an illusion. It actually makes me feel more tense. Every time I put the cigarette out, I start withdrawing, and then I have to wait to have another cigarette. So you see through it, you let the tower explode, you put that addiction to the guillotine, you let it die, and you make space for your life to live a more healthy and positive everyday experience. So it's about being authentic. It's about making the decision, and no one can tell you what's right or wrong, okay? Because if you are in a marriage and it's fine, it's not the most passionate, amazing love of your life, only you can decide whether you want to stay in that marriage or whether you have to get out. If you're in a job that you dislike but you make 200 grand a year, only you can decide whether the huge amount of money that you're making outweighs the absolute boredom and torment that you experience on a daily basis in that job. No one can tell you this, but the cards are saying that this is going to become a theme today. You're thinking about yourself. You're thinking about the structures in your life. And that's why yesterday was about running free and running wild, because when you do that, you reconnect with your true nature and you cut out the voices of other people who are always floating around in your head. I talk to a lot of people, and what I've noticed is that Indian women, for instance, are very, very much put under pressure to get married by a certain age, to accept that. Otherwise, society really regards them as pariahs, and is really, really difficult. And unless those women, even when they're abroad, even if they leave India and they go to the States or they go to the UK or wherever, if they don't conform and they say, do you know what, I want to stay single because that's what really makes me happy and I'm going to live a single life and build that, they still get a lot of grief from the family. It doesn't stop. So no one can tell you that you should live a hard and authentic life, or you should live a life that's easier, but you compromise yourself. It's a decision only you can make, and the ending is going to be clear to you today. So tune in spiritually, connect with who you really are. You found out about that yesterday, and look at the pros and cons and see whether killing this structure and this real landscape of your life that is in place, weigh it up against what life you want and see whether it's worth ending this life or this way of life for the sake of a dream you have, and whether it's worth it and whether you're willing to take the risk. Also, if you know that something is wrong, you may be presented with an alternative option today. You may see it in your mind's eye. So you've been working as a doctor for the last 10 years. You're alone. You're a 45-year-old man. And everything's been fine, but for the last 6 months, you've suddenly felt very depressed and you don't really know how to put your finger on it. And today, you're going around and you really start to think you suddenly realize in your mind's eye, I don't want to work a 100-hour week. I don't want to live in the ER department. I actually want a family. What? I didn't realize that. So that would mean death to my constant work and the environment of my work. I'd have to find maybe a GP practice and set that up and become a GP, or I would have to work as a specialist and maybe work less and put a lot of effort into finding someone and to starting a family. Wow, I didn't even know that I wanted that. So that's the kind of day it is. If you already know what other life you want to live, it's making that decision. And please let your higher self, your intuition, your real self, the self that you nurtured yesterday, that, you know, that inner child, that inner voice that is real to you, that 6-year-old that speaks to you, that's your true self. Listen to your true self. We all know it. We forget about it when we get older sometimes, but it's never lost. It's always there. Listen to that, and even if it seems outrageous and hard, listen to it and have the courage to go with what your gut tells you. Remember, you don't always know what's right or wrong for you. Challenging day, lots of stuff going on. Number-wise, we've got 13 and 16 is 29. And 4 is 33. 33 we've had recently as well. It's really being connected with spirit. 3 is communication and the way you think. And it's new beginnings. But 33 also, because it's a master number, some numerologists only count 11 and 22 as master numbers. I see 33 and 44 as master numbers as well. And 33 is the ascended masters. So the angels, death, Jesus, Kuan Yin, whoever you work with, when I summon my guides, it takes me a while to get all of them in. They're very, very close to you today, and they are advising you. And they're the ones who are bringing you the image of what your new life could be. So be open-minded and listen. Have a wonderful day. This could be a really life-changing day, a transformative day, and in a really, really good way. It could be the first day of a whole new life. So show up for the day. I know it's not always easy to have to make these decisions, but that's what you're getting today. Make the most of it. If you want some support and help with this, then please get in touch with me for a personal reading. GregoryScott.com, click on the readings tab to order your reading. I use the tarot, astrology, and numerology. I can tell you what your life purpose is, what your vocational aptitudes are, strengths and weaknesses, what's going to make you feel comfortable and at ease. So if you have any questions, then get in touch with me via the website. Have a fabulous Sunday. Remember to hit the subscribe button on this channel, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.